Chosen one. Heaven has recorded this day in eternal ink, the moment your heart chose to stay faithful when everything around you screamed to walk away. Heaven marked it. You may not realize it yet, but today became proof that your love for God runs deeper than anyone expected. The unseen realm watched as you stood, silent but steadfast, and heaven took note. There are moments when human applause fades, and only the sound of your heartbeat before God remains. That's where heaven measures true love, not in the noise of your victories, but in the quiet of your obedience. You didn't shout your faith today. You lived it. You didn't need witnesses because heaven itself was enough. Every hidden act of loyalty becomes a declaration in eternity. The choice you made to forgive when hurt, to pray when weary, to believe when all logic said give up, those choices became light in the spiritual realm. When you chose God in silence, you spoke louder than 1,000 sermons. This is what it means to be chosen, not to be seen, but to be proven. Love is not real until it costs something. And today, your love cost you your comfort, your pride, your right to be understood, and yet you remained faithful. That is divine strength clothed in human weakness. That is proof that your heart belongs fully to heaven. The ancient record declares in the second book of Chronicles, chapter 16, verse 9, "For the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him." Today, those eyes found you. When others doubted, you kept standing. When you were tempted to quit, you whispered, "Still, I trust you." That whisper reached the throne. The heavens recognized that sound, the sound of a heart that refuses to betray its maker. You were tested, and instead of breaking, you bloomed. This is not coincidence. This is covenant. God allowed today not to expose your weakness, but to reveal your endurance. The moment you thought you were forgotten, heaven was documenting your loyalty. Every tear that fell, every breath that said yes again, it all became sacred evidence in the archives of glory. The angels saw, the Father smiled, and the darkness that tried to silence you learned a painful truth: you cannot destroy a soul anchored in divine love. Your pain became prophecy. Your obedience became warfare. Your quiet endurance became a declaration that hell could not contradict. Now heaven moves in response. Favor begins to shift, not because you shouted loud, but because you stood still. Love that endures invites divine attention. The very storm that sought to drown you has now become the stage for your anointing. Chosen one, you have proven that your relationship with God is not based on convenience but on covenant. Today, you walked through fire without losing faith, through silence without losing song, through trial without losing tenderness. You showed the world and heaven that your love is not for show. It is for God alone. And now, as heaven bears witness, let this truth settle deep inside you. You are seen, you are known, and your love has weight in the spirit realm. Every unseen sacrifice is counted. Every act of quiet faith echoes across eternity. If this message speaks to your spirit, if you feel the warmth of divine confirmation rising within you, respond. Not to me, but to heaven. Let your comment be your sign, your act of agreement with what God has done in you today. Like this message, share it so others may remember that obedience still moves heaven. Subscribe to remain connected to words that strengthen your soul and keep your light burning. Now, as an act of prophetic declaration, comment 111 below, symbol of divine completion and heaven's recognition. For today, heaven witnessed it. Your love for God runs deeper than anyone expected. Your obedience today opened gates you cannot yet see. Where there was delay, movement begins. Where there was silence, divine direction stirs. Heaven is now arranging people, timing, and opportunities to honor your hidden loyalty. The unseen world shifts in your favor even as you rest tonight. Every act of quiet surrender becomes a seed of future glory. What felt like loss is transformation. The same God who watched you endure will now reward you openly. You will see evidence doors once locked will respond to your faithfulness. Nothing offered in love is ever forgotten. Let peace fill the space where worry used to live. The test is over. The lesson remains. You have proven love, and that love now becomes protection. No weapon formed against your purpose will prevail. Your name carries the scent of victory in heaven's corridors tonight. Lift your heart in gratitude. Breathe and know you are covered. Angels stand guard around your destiny because you chose devotion over comfort. The story heaven writes of you will inspire generations of warriors. Rest now, your faith has spoken louder than words ever could. The fire came quietly, without warning, as it often does for those chosen to carry more than most. You felt its heat in unseen ways through disappointment, delay, and the silent weight of unanswered prayers. Yet even in that furnace, something divine was happening. The refining had begun not to destroy you, but to draw out the gold within. You did not understand it at first, but heaven did. The pain that pressed you was never punishment, it was purification. You see, there are levels of faith that can only be reached when everything else is stripped away. It is in the fire that your intentions are tested, your motives purified, your love proven true. When life grew heavy, you didn't walk away, you leaned closer. That choice alone became your greatest act of worship. Heaven took note of that moment when you whispered, "Still, I trust you." Even when trust felt impossible. That was not weakness, it was the mark of divine maturity. The scriptures remind us through the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10. "See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." This verse lives in you now. You became the living proof of it today. The fire was not meant to burn you, it was meant to expose the truth of your love. God watched as the heat rose and the distractions melted away, leaving only your devotion. The moments that broke others did not break you. They built you. What looked like loss was actually heaven's way of revealing the strength that had always been inside you. Understand this, the furnace is sacred. It is where purity meets purpose. It is where heaven watches closely, measuring every tear and counting every sigh. You may think no one saw the nights you cried, the prayers you couldn't even form into words, but heaven did. Angels carried those unspoken groans into the presence of God, and every one of them became a petition written in fire. You were refined not because you were unworthy, but because you were chosen for something greater. There are callings that require cleansing. There are mantles that can only be carried by those who have endured the flame without bitterness. And you, yes, you stood in the heat and still loved God. That is why heaven calls you rare. That is why your journey has never been ordinary. You have walked through affliction and discovered that the furnace was never empty. Someone walked there with you. The very presence you thought had abandoned you was standing in the flames all along. Every spark that touched your soul became a testimony of endurance. The world might not understand it, but heaven does. There are angels who whisper your name as an example of steadfastness. They speak of how you did not curse the season that hurt you, how you turned pain into praise. This testing was never about survival, it was about revelation. It revealed who you are when nothing else remains, when reputation, comfort, and recognition fall away. In that place, stripped of all illusions, you discovered your essence, love that doesn't fade in heat. faith that doesn't crumble under pressure, trust that doesn't die in delay. That is the beauty of the chosen, what others call breaking. Heaven calls birthing. You were not merely tested, you were transformed. Every affliction has carved deeper wisdom into your spirit. Every moment of silence has taught you how to hear God in whispers, and every wound has become a doorway where His glory can now flow through you unhindered. This is the mystery of divine testing. It refines without destroying. It burns without consuming. Even now, the embers of that refining still glow around you. You are being reshaped, strengthened for what lies ahead. The same hands that allowed the fire are the hands that now polish the gold. You are being prepared to carry something holy, something that requires the depth you've gained through pain. So, when you look back on today, see it for what it truly was, not just a trial, but a turning point. Heaven wasn't questioning your worth. It was revealing your weight in glory. Every moment in the furnace was a conversation between your heart and eternity, and you answered with faith. Now the smoke clears, and you stand changed, stronger, wiser, softer in spirit but firmer in conviction. What the fire took, God will restore 100-fold, but what the fire gave will remain forever: endurance, humility, and a love that no flame can consume. Remember this always: the chosen are not defined by how they enter the fire, but by how they emerge from it pure, steady, and radiant with divine light. You have come through that furnace, and heaven recognizes you now not just as tested, but as proven. And though the world may never know the depth of what you endured, heaven will never forget. The record stands eternal. You were tested, refined, and found faithful gold in the hands of the Almighty. Love that costs nothing has no weight in heaven. The kind of love that caught heaven's attention today was not sweet words or public devotion. It was sacrifice. It was the quiet surrender of your will when no one applauded. It was the choice to keep loving when it hurt, to keep forgiving when it was unfair, to keep believing when nothing made sense. This is the kind of love that rewrites stories and shakes the unseen realm. There is a sacred truth: the deeper your love for God, the more it will be tested, not to destroy you, but to refine what you claim to carry. Every moment you remained faithful when quitting seemed easier. Every tear that fell while you whispered His name became an offering on the altar of true devotion. Heaven calls this kind of endurance holy fire. The Word of God speaks through the Gospel of Luke, chapter 14, verse 27. Whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. You carried your cross today not for show, not for recognition, but because your heart refuses to live without His presence. That is what separates you from the crowd. Many speak of love for God, but few will love Him when it costs them comfort, reputation, or control. You have joined that few, the remnant that walks by faith, not feeling. Love that costs you something always attracts heaven's movement. When you stayed silent instead of defending yourself, heaven defended you. When you chose peace instead of revenge, heaven recorded it. When you said yes to God again after disappointment, angels rejoiced. Every one of those choices became proof that your affection for Him is real, unshaken, and eternal. And in that unseen space of surrender, heaven whispered your name. You might not have heard it, but the echo of that whisper traveled through the corridors of eternity. This one loves beyond convenience. The furnace may have tested your faith, but now the silence tests your love. Can you still worship when the answer delays? Can you still say God is good when life feels unfair? The chosen can, because their love is not built on blessings, it's anchored in trust. You are among them. This is where true intimacy begins, not when you receive, but when you remain. Heaven doesn't look for perfect hearts. It looks for steadfast ones. And you have proven steadfastness when no one saw. The unseen endurance you displayed today became a light signal in the spirit realm, a radiant flame announcing, love still lives here. The more you love, the more you will be misunderstood. But take comfort. Misunderstanding is a mark of divine calling. Even Jesus was doubted by those he came to save, yet love kept him steady, and love keeps you steady now. Every moment you choose to love despite pain, you reflect the heart of heaven, and heaven rewards such hearts differently. It gives them peace in chaos, clarity in confusion, strength in silence. You will begin to notice the atmosphere around you shift, not because your situation changed, but because your spirit did. That's the hidden power of love proven through pain. It doesn't always fix what's around you, but it transforms what's within you until you carry peace wherever you stand. When God looks at you now, He doesn't see the struggle. He sees the strength forged in the struggle. He doesn't see the tears. He sees the testimony being born through them. You didn't just survive, you sanctified your suffering through love. That is the rarest victory of all. You may not realize it, but this kind of love terrifies darkness. Hell cannot comprehend a heart that still loves after breaking. Demons retreat at the sound of a yes spoken through pain. Every time you loved instead of hated, you declared war against the kingdom of fear and won. Now, heaven invites you to mark this moment. Let this word seal itself into your spirit, a reminder that love is not weakness, it is the greatest weapon of all. You have wielded it well today. Type Love 1 in the comments below, not as a slogan but as a declaration of truth. Because your endurance, your surrender, your silent obedience, all of it screams one eternal message: love has won, and heaven has witnessed it. Type Love 1 not as words on a screen, but as a declaration from your spirit. When you write it, you agree with heaven's testimony that love conquered where pain once ruled. It's your signature on the record of divine endurance. Each letter carries weight in the unseen realm. As you type Love 1, it becomes a prophetic act that seals today's victory in your heart. It tells heaven, I understand what this moment means. It tells darkness, you didn't win. Let your comment be worship. Write Love 1 as a seed of gratitude, a marker that the testing has turned into triumph. When you declare it, you align with heaven's echo that no storm, no silence, no sorrow can overpower a love like yours. The eyes of heaven did not blink when the world turned away. Every heartbeat, every hidden tear, every decision to stand when it would have been easier to bow, heaven saw it all. You thought your quiet strength went unnoticed, but the King of Glory has been watching closely, recording your every act of faithfulness. There has never been a moment when your endurance was wasted. You have shown that your love for God is not shallow, it is steady. It does not vanish when comfort disappears or when prayers seem unanswered. This kind of love is not easily learned. It is carved through trial, purified through waiting, proven in silence. You have walked that sacred path. Heaven calls that path refinement, and it is the road only the chosen can walk without losing heart. The Spirit reminds us through the first letter of Peter, chapter 1, verse 7. These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold, though your faith is far more precious than gold. That verse breathes through your story. The fire has not come to destroy you, but to distinguish you. While others questioned God in the heat of affliction, you discovered Him in it. You began to understand that the same flame that consumes the false strengthens the true. You have been refined, not reduced. The glow you carry now is not the mark of comfort, but of authenticity. Look back and see how even your silence became worship. Every moment you chose patience over panic, heaven called it maturity. Every time you released control instead of demanding answers, you demonstrated trust. These are the quiet victories that shape destiny. The world may not celebrate them, but heaven does. Your love has passed through the proving ground of affliction and emerged deeper, steadier, and wiser. You no longer serve God only in joy. You now serve Him with understanding. You have learned that faith is not proven in the sunlight, but in the storm. And because of that, the atmosphere around your life has changed. The flame that once tested you now empowers you. This is how heaven measures greatness, not by what you've achieved, but by what you've endured without losing worship. There are crowns that only the tested can wear, songs that only the broken can sing, and revelations that only the refined can carry. You are walking in that dimension now. You have become a testimony written in invisible ink. Angels have read your endurance like poetry. Every sigh has meaning. Every tear has weight. The fire has written a new identity over you, not wounded, but worthy. Not forgotten, but forged. Not defeated, but defined. The time of proving has not been a punishment. It has been a promotion in disguise. God does not test to expose. He tests to entrust. He allowed the flame because He plans to place something precious in your hands. Something only a refined heart can carry without pride or fear. Even now, you may feel the residue of that heat, but you are stronger than ever. The furnace you once dreaded became your training ground. It stripped away every counterfeit layer until only truth remained. You have come out with eyes that see clearer, ears that hear deeper, and a heart that beats in rhythm with heaven. Do you feel it, that subtle shift in the air around you? It is not coincidence. It is divine acknowledgement. The refining has produced revelation, and revelation leads to restoration. What was tested is now trusted. You have become a vessel heaven can pour through freely. And as you continue forward, know this: the flame that once frightened you has now become your friend. It taught you what comfort could not. It revealed strength you never knew was there. You no longer fear the furnace because you have walked through it and discovered God standing beside you. So lift your head, not in pride, but in quiet victory. You are not who you were before the fire. You have been transformed into living proof that faith refined in flame shines brighter than gold. Heaven looks upon you and calls you complete, not because the journey is over, but because your heart has been purified enough to carry the next revelation. Every spark that once terrified you has now become your reminder that God never left the fire. His presence wrapped around you when strength failed, proving that grace burns brighter than pain. The furnace didn't change His promise, it revealed His nearness. Now you carry evidence, not of what you lost, but of what you gained through endurance. The same fire that stripped you also crowned you with resilience. Heaven does not forget such refinement. It celebrates it as eternal proof of unshakable faith. Walk forward in quiet confidence. The ashes beneath your feet are no longer reminders of ruin, but of resurrection. Every trial transformed into testimony, every scar into strength. You are living gold, shaped, refined, and chosen for divine purpose. Heaven's applause is not loud, yet it is unending. When the unseen realms rejoiced over you, the sound echoed like soft thunder across eternity. You may not have heard it with your ears, but your spirit did. Something within you stirred, something ancient recognized. Heaven noticed. The fire refined you. And now your heart glows differently, steady, humble, radiant. When you woke today, you carried that unseen light. It is the light that doesn't demand attention but transforms every space it enters. People feel it, even if they cannot name it. It's the quiet glow of someone who has walked through trial, yet still loves God deeply. That light is not yours alone. It is heaven's reflection through you. The sacred text reveals in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Your life is that verse in motion. Every decision, every step of faith, every moment of grace has become a living sermon. You are no longer simply surviving, you are shining. That light calls others out of the shadows. You are proof that love endures, faith rebuilds, and God restores. And because your light matters, every ripple you create carries eternal weight. When you share words of faith, when you speak kindness instead of bitterness, when you extend forgiveness instead of judgment, you expand heaven's reach. Your obedience multiplies influence beyond what eyes can see. That is how revival begins, one heart that refuses to dim in darkness. So now, as this message flows through your screen, think of yourself as a vessel through which light travels. This channel, this message, is one of the ways that light spreads. Each word you hear or read is crafted to strengthen the weary, lift the broken, and remind the chosen of who they are. And every time you share it, heaven rejoices because the message moves further into hearts that need it. When you choose to like this message, it's like striking a match in the night, a signal to heaven that light still burns here. When you share it, you send that flame to another soul still finding their way. And when you subscribe, you build a lighthouse where faith can return again and again. If these words have touched something sacred inside you, if you've ever whispered, "This feels like it's speaking directly to me," then you are already part of that divine flow. You're not just listening, you're participating in something holy. And if your heart stirs gently at this moment, consider sowing a seed. Your donation becomes a drop of oil poured into the lamp of this message, keeping its flame alive for others still walking through darkness. Do it not out of pressure, but as a sacred whisper. Let the light go further. This isn't obligation, it's invitation. A field already blooming doesn't need another seed, but a willing hand that plants one shares in the harvest. If you feel peace about it, let your support be your way of saying, keep the light burning. Maybe your contribution isn't financial. Maybe your giving is your prayer, your encouragement, your act of sharing this with a friend who needs it. Every expression of support carries the same fragrance of love. The purpose is not to gather from you, but to grow with you, to continue sending these messages into the world like gentle rain over dry ground. This light reaches beyond borders, beyond time zones, beyond language. It finds the lonely, the tired, the searching. And your kindness, yes, even the smallest act helps it travel further. You become a current in the river of grace, carrying light to shores unseen. Let your heart lead you. If you feel moved to give, do so with joy, not duty. If you share this message, do it as a gesture of hope. If you simply listen and pray, that too matters deeply. Each person who receives this word becomes a living flame, carrying the presence of God into their own corner of the world. The fire that once tested you now becomes the fire you share. You are no longer just the receiver, you are the carrier. That's the beauty of divine exchange. The same message that comforted you now flows through you to others. So, keep shining, keep sharing, keep giving in the way your heart leads. Whether through a like, a share, a quiet donation, or a whispered prayer, each act becomes a ripple of light expanding into the dark. You are proof that generosity is not about amount, but about alignment. When love moves first, heaven multiplies what follows. And tonight, heaven smiles. Not because of what you gave, but because of how freely you gave it, without pressure, without fear, without calculation. Just love, pure and steady, extending forward. May your giving, whatever form it takes, return to you as peace, as strength, as clarity for your next step. For the same God who received your endurance in the fire now receives your offering in joy. There are moments in your journey when heaven steps closer, not to test, but to remind you that you were never forgotten. Today was one of those moments. You may not have seen it, but the atmosphere around you shifted. Something unseen bowed to your endurance. You didn't speak loudly. You simply remained faithful, and that was enough for heaven to move. There's a kind of silence that only the chosen understand. It's the silence where your prayers hang unanswered, where you question if God still remembers your name. Yet it is in that silence that heaven often works the deepest. It is where foundations are rebuilt, motives refined, and hearts purified. You have lived through that kind of silence, and instead of breaking, you blossomed. The sacred record reminds us in the book of Job, chapter 23, verse 10. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. That verse breathes life into your story. You didn't know where the path was leading, but you trusted the one guiding it. You kept walking even when the road seemed endless. Every step, every sigh, every whispered "I still believe" became proof that your love was not dependent on clarity, but on covenant. Heaven calls that kind of faith golden. And now, the evidence of that faith begins to appear not in thunder or spectacle, but in subtle peace, the kind that enters quietly and settles into your bones. That peace is heaven's signature, God's way of saying, I was there the entire time. It's not a reward for performance, but a gift for perseverance. Do you feel it, that calm after the storm? That stillness that doesn't need explanation, it is divine confirmation. You have endured, and now heaven begins to rebuild around you. The ground that once trembled beneath your feet is now becoming sacred soil for new beginnings. There's something powerful about your journey. Your wounds no longer define you, they refine you. What once hurt you now teaches you. What once drained you now fuels your compassion for others. You've learned to see pain as a classroom where grace becomes the teacher. And heaven noticed how you treated people even while you were bleeding. You didn't let bitterness build an altar in your heart. You continued to love, to forgive, and to extend mercy. Those small, quiet decisions became warfare in the spirit realm. Every time you chose light over shadow, the kingdom of darkness lost ground. Now God whispers into your spirit, you are stronger than you think. You have already proven your love through endurance. Now it's time to walk in restoration. As you step into this new season, remember that heaven always honors the tested. The furnace that once burned now becomes your platform of authority. You carry wisdom others can feel just by standing near you. You speak softly. Yet your words carry weight because they come from someone who has seen God in the fire. This is where your story shifts from survival to influence. Not the kind that demands a stage, but the kind that changes rooms. When you enter, peace follows. When you speak, hearts soften. You are not the same person who began this journey. You've been shaped by divine hands for divine purpose. And now, heaven extends an invitation. Mark this moment. Let it be a testimony that you endured and came forth as gold. You've walked through the testing, and now heaven wants you to acknowledge the transformation. Take a moment, right where you are, and let gratitude rise. You don't need grand words, just a heart that whispers. Thank you for not letting go of me. Feel that warmth in your spirit. That's heaven responding, acknowledging your perseverance. Now, as a prophetic act of agreement, a symbol between you and heaven, comment the number 444 below. This number represents divine alignment. Heaven's order manifesting in your life after the fire. When you type it, you're not just commenting, you're declaring, my steps are aligned with heaven's design. There's power in small acts of faith. Just as your endurance became worship, your comment becomes confirmation. It's a simple way to say, I am still here, still believing, still chosen. And as you do, may the peace of God wrap around you like soft light at dawn. May it whisper to every weary part of you that the season of proving is giving way to a season of promise. Heaven has already written the next chapter. It begins with you, standing, shining, and aligned. Type 444 in the comments as a declaration that your journey now walks in divine rhythm. Each digit becomes a symbol of alignment, body, mind, and spirit moving together under heaven's timing. It's your silent amen to what God has completed. When you write 444, you're not chasing blessing, you're acknowledging balance. It says, I'm in step with heaven now. The number marks a crossing point from refining to restoration, from testing to triumph. Let it stand as your signature of faith fulfilled. There is a moment when darkness realizes it cannot win, when all its efforts to silence, break, or discourage you collapse under the weight of your endurance. That moment has already come. The enemy's greatest weapon was not pain, but doubt. Yet even when your heart trembled, you refused to let go of the hand of God. You may not have seen it, but the realm of darkness did. It watched as you stood when you had every reason to fall, and that terrified it. You were never fighting a visible battle. The struggle was spiritual, ancient, and fierce. Every discouraging word, every setback, every season of confusion was part of an invisible war for your faith. But what the enemy underestimated was your love. He thought pain would make you bitter, but it made you stronger. He thought loneliness would make you silent, but it deepened your prayer life. He thought loss would make you turn away, but it pushed you closer to the one who never leaves. The divine text speaks through the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 37. In all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. That verse is not just a promise, it is your reality. You have proven it. You have conquered not through revenge or resistance, but through love that refuses to die. You won by standing still in storms that others ran from. You won by staying faithful when hope felt distant. You won by trusting that God's plan, though hidden, was still holy. The greatest victories are not loud, they're quiet. They happen in the soul before they ever reach the surface. You won the unseen battle first, and that victory now begins to unfold in the visible world. Heaven marks it as completion. The enemy recognizes it as defeat. This is why the atmosphere around you feels lighter lately. Something has shifted. The warfare that once felt constant is losing strength. The attacks that once reached your heart now glance off your armor. You are no longer standing in survival, you are standing in authority. Heaven has transferred power into your hands because you have proven trustworthy with pain. There's a rare beauty that only the tested carry. It's in your eyes now, a softness that doesn't come from weakness but from wisdom. You have seen enough darkness to understand light's value. You have faced enough pain to recognize peace when it comes. That is why God trusts you with influence, because your strength is wrapped in compassion. When you walk into a room, You don't just bring words, you bring atmosphere. People sense peace around you without knowing why. It's because you fought enough wars in silence to become a carrier of calm. What once overwhelmed you now obeys you. That is authority born from endurance. Understand this truth: the enemy does not fear noise. He fears endurance. He fears the believer who keeps standing after being hit again and again. You have become that believer. Your stability is spiritual warfare. Your peace is resistance. Every time you refuse to collapse, you preach a sermon without words. And heaven continues to record it. You are being written into divine history as one who overcame through love, not by might, not by manipulation, but by surrender. You learned that victory in the kingdom doesn't always look like escaping the storm. It looks like sleeping through it in trust. You are no longer the same soul who entered this trial. The timid heart that once doubted is now bold. The voice that once wavered is now clear. The faith that once needed proof now walks with quiet certainty. That is transformation, not of circumstance, but of character. This is how God builds warriors, not with armor of steel, but with hearts of devotion. You've discovered that real strength isn't loud or aggressive, it's gentle, steady, and deeply rooted. That is what makes you dangerous to darkness. You don't need to shout at it, you outlast it. Now, the enemy watches from a distance, realizing it cannot reclaim what you've surrendered to God. Your peace has become a shield that no arrow can pierce. Every attempt to shake your confidence only proves your stability. Heaven smiles, knowing the battle that once drained you now defines you. So walk forward unafraid. The war that tried to destroy you became the training ground for your authority. The fire that sought to consume you only clarified your faith. You stand now as living proof that love is stronger than fear, and endurance louder than evil. The world will never fully understand what you overcame, but heaven will never forget. Your name is written in the record of those who endured, those who loved beyond reason, those who proved that light still reigns. And as the pages of your story turn, every word whispers the same truth: darkness lost the day you decided to keep standing. Every tear you have ever cried has been counted. None of them disappeared into the ground without purpose. Heaven has a way of turning what was once pain into seed, planting each drop of sorrow into soil that will soon bloom with peace. It is hard to see while you are still healing, but your heart is already sprouting something sacred. The unseen harvest has begun. The path of the chosen is never wasted. Even detours hold divine intention. Every delay, every disappointment, every silence has shaped you into someone deeper. You may not realize it, but the wisdom you carry now was born from the places where nothing seemed to work. That wisdom is heaven's hidden reward. It cannot be bought or learned in ease. The Word of God reminds us in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." That is the promise blooming beneath your feet. The time of reaping approaches, and slowly but surely, like dawn after a long night, you did not give up, and that decision became your gateway into blessing. There were seasons where you labored in faith, seeing no fruit, yet you kept sowing prayers, forgiveness, and endurance. Those invisible seeds did not die, they were planted in divine time. Now heaven prepares the rain. It will not be a flood that overwhelms you, but a steady outpouring that refreshes your spirit. You will begin to notice small signs, moments of unexpected peace, words of confirmation, alignments that seem too precise to be coincidence. These are the first sprigs of the promise pushing through the soil of your patience. There are angels assigned to water what you have planted through pain. They move quietly and unseen, tending the garden of your obedience. Nothing has been wasted. Not 1 hour of prayer. Not one sacrifice. Not one act of love that went unnoticed. Heaven is meticulous with its memory. You have lived in seasons where nothing seemed to grow, where the ground felt barren beneath your hope. But the truth is, the roots were deepening in that silence. What felt like stillness was actually preparation. The harvest of heaven takes time because it produces fruit that lasts beyond a lifetime. The field you are standing in now is not the same one you started with. The soil is softer, the air lighter, your hands steadier. You have learned how to plant without panic, how to wait without fear. That is the mastery of faith, to believe in a harvest you cannot yet see. Sometimes, heaven delays the visible result because the invisible strength must be perfected first. You are not just receiving a blessing, you are becoming the kind of person who can sustain it. The waiting built your capacity, the stretching built your stamina. What is coming will not crush you because you have learned how to bend without breaking. You will soon understand why it had to take this long. If God had answered too early, your hands would not have been ready to carry it. Now, every part of you is aligned. Your discernment has sharpened. Your motives have matured. Your love has been refined. The harvest will arrive at the exact moment when you can hold it with humility. And when it comes, it will come quietly. Heaven rarely shouts when it blesses. It moves like wind, soft but undeniable. You will simply look around and realize that peace has replaced pressure, that joy flows where pain once stood. The very things that once wounded you will begin to work for you. You will see people drawn to the light in you, not realizing that it was born from ashes. You will comfort those walking through the same fire you once endured. You will speak words that carry healing because you've lived them. That is the secret of divine reward. It turns survivors into restorers. This next season is not about striving, but resting in trust. The work is already done. The ground has already been prepared. Your only task now is to keep your heart open to the rain. Keep believing that heaven does not forget faithful hands. The garden of endurance will bloom in time, and its fragrance will fill everything around you. So breathe deeply, let go of the timeline. Trust that heaven's calendar never runs late. What was sown in tears will rise in beauty. And when you finally stand amid your harvest, you will understand it was never about what you lost, but about who you became while waiting. You will look back and see that every unanswered prayer was an act of divine timing. Heaven was never denying you, it was arranging you. Every delay protected the purity of your purpose so that the promise could find you fully prepared. Now your soul rests in quiet certainty. The waiting has ended, and peace has taken root where worry once lived. You no longer chase outcomes, you carry assurance. The harvest is not coming, it has already begun within you. There is a language heaven understands better than any tongue spoken on earth. It is not built from syllables or sound, it is built from obedience. Every time you chose to trust instead of doubt, to serve instead of complain, to stay instead of flee, you were speaking heaven's language fluently. Words may fade, but obedience echoes forever. You have learned how to converse with God without saying a single thing. Your choices became sentences. Your endurance became declarations. Every act of humility was a paragraph written in glory. Heaven does not measure worship by volume, but by surrender in your life. Right now is one long, beautiful hymn. The ancient writings remind us in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. When you committed even the smallest details of your day to God, you began to walk in a rhythm that aligned with eternity. You may have thought you were simply surviving, but heaven saw you composing a masterpiece of trust. Your silence was not emptiness, it was reverence. Your perseverance was not routine, it was worship. There is a power in your consistency that frightens darkness. The enemy can handle noise, but he cannot endure faith that refuses to move. Every time you stayed faithful in the unseen, you broke a chain somewhere in the spirit. Every time you chose kindness when wounded, a gate opened for someone else's healing. You are speaking in the dialect of divine impact. Heaven hears what others overlook. When you prayed for someone who hurt you, that was a shout in the spirit realm. When you gave without recognition, that became a roar that pushed back selfishness in the world. You do not need a pulpit or a stage to preach, you already do so by living surrendered. And now, heaven sends you this reminder: keep speaking in the language of light. Let obedience remain your song. Let faith be your grammar. Let love be the punctuation that completes every sentence of your life. You are not just a believer, you are a translator of heaven's heart on earth. Think of every moment you've chosen integrity when temptation whispered otherwise. Think of every time you walked away from what glittered but wasn't gold. Those moments did not disappear, they became phrases in the eternal book of the faithful. When your heart beats in rhythm with heaven's will, you release sound waves that change the spiritual atmosphere. This is why some people sense peace when they stand near you. They're hearing heaven's melody through your life. You are a vessel that carries divine resonance, and everywhere you go, that sound travels. Even your silence has authority because it was forged in obedience. The language of the chosen is never about perfection, it's about intention. God does not look for flawless sentences, He listens for honest ones. Every yes you whisper counts more than the 1,000 promises others never keep. Every humble decision becomes poetry that angels sing over. Now, let this be the moment you acknowledge what heaven has always known: you are fluent in faith. The words of your life translate divine truth into human form. And when others read your endurance, they will see what love looks like in motion. Your calling is not just to speak, but to be the message. Let your actions continue the conversation. Heaven is listening, smiling, recording every syllable of surrender you live out daily. If this truth settles into your spirit, if you can feel the warmth of heaven's recognition in your chest, then let your response be simple yet powerful. Type "I'm aligned" below. Write it not for visibility, but for affirmation. When you type "I'm aligned," you're declaring that your actions, words, and heart move in rhythm with divine order. It is your quiet yes, your continuation of this sacred conversation between you and God. Type "I'm aligned" in the comments, not as a routine phrase, but as a living testimony. When you write it, you're not agreeing with me, you're agreeing with heaven. You're declaring that your steps, your speech, and your spirit now move in divine rhythm. Each letter of "I'm aligned" becomes a thread heaven uses to weave your life into its design. You are telling God, I choose to stay synchronized with your will even when I don't understand. That confession opens doors in the unseen realm, doors that lead to favor, clarity, and peace. Alignment is not perfection, it's permission. It says, Lord, correct my path when I drift and strengthen my focus when I'm weary. When you type "I'm aligned," you offer heaven permission to fine-tune your journey. The act itself becomes worship, silent, pure, and powerful. Let this be your moment of agreement. Don't type it for visibility, but for vision. It's your way of planting a flag in the ground of faith, saying, here I stand in step with heaven. When you declare "I'm aligned," All of heaven echoes back, yes, you are. There are moments when the light you carry begins to spill over, quietly, naturally, like dawn unfolding across the horizon. It's not forced, it's simply time. What once flickered now burns steady. And that glow doesn't belong to you alone. It was given so you could give it away. The beauty of divine light is that it never diminishes when shared. It multiplies. You've walked through fire, through silence, through refining, and now your heart has become a lantern. When others draw near, they feel peace without knowing why. That's the evidence of transformation light that comforts rather than blinds. The same God who refined you now releases your story as illumination for others still wandering through shadow. The scriptures remind us through the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 8. Freely you have received, freely give. You are living that verse now. Every word you speak, every act of compassion, every prayer whispered for someone else. It all flows from what heaven has already poured into you. You have received grace freely, and now that grace flows outward. Think of your light as a gentle fire in a cold night. Some will come close not to take from you, but to feel warmth again when you share what has healed you. Heaven uses your story as kindling for someone else's hope. That's how revival begins, one flame passing to another, until the darkness has nowhere left to hide. And in this sacred exchange, the message you hear right now becomes part of that same light. These words, this channel, this space, it's all a bridge carrying heaven's comfort to hearts in need. Every time you help it cross a little further, the glow spreads wider. When you choose to like this message, it's not about numbers, it's about acknowledgement. It's your way of saying, this light reached me. This, a simple gesture. Yet in heaven's eyes, it's a spark that travels. When you share it, you release that spark into someone else's night. You might never know whose heart it touches, but heaven does. One share can travel where no preacher's voice ever could, straight into a soul ready to awaken. When you subscribe, you are not joining a platform. You are joining a flow, a stream of light that never runs dry. Every new soul that connects becomes another candle added to the flame. Together we form a constellation of hope across the earth, and if your heart feels a quiet nudge as you listen, that may be heaven inviting you to plant a seed into the soil of this work. A donation here is not a transaction, it's participation. It's like adding oil to the lamp so the flame can continue reaching those who still walk in shadows. You give not because you're asked, but because your spirit recognizes the worth of what you've received. The light you help sustain might one day reach someone praying tonight for a sign that God still sees them. And if that happens through your giving, that's a miracle shared. Remember, the offering of the heart always returns multiplied. When you sow into light, the harvest is always peace. You are not losing, you are lighting. You are not spending, you are sending. What you release will circle back, carrying joy in its hands. You can give in many ways, with prayer, with kindness, with a share, with generosity. Every expression matters. The goal is not to gather, but to keep the flow alive, to ensure that what touched your heart today continues to travel through screens, hearts, and nations. So let your heart lead you. If you give, let it be from joy, not duty. If you share, let it be from hope, not habit. If you simply listen and breathe, that too is worship. Heaven treasures the intention behind the act more than the act itself. The truth is, light will always find its way. You are proof of that. And now, heaven invites you to let that light flow freely. The more it passes through you, the stronger it becomes, like a river that never dries because it keeps moving. Your generosity of spirit, of heart, of giving keeps the current alive. So shine gently, share freely, and give as you feel led. The flame you sustain today will warm countless hearts tomorrow. And in the silence of eternity, heaven will whisper what you've already proven. Light shared is love multiplied. You are part of something living, something that breathes light into weary places. Every act of support, no matter how small, becomes a heartbeat in that rhythm. What you offer today travels farther than sight, touching souls you may never meet, but heaven knows by name. Let your kindness remain effortless, like sunlight through open windows, never forced, never withheld. The same grace that reached you now moves through you. The flame continues not by pressure, but by love freely given. And as you give, light circles back, whispering softly. This is how heaven expands, one heart at a time. Some crowns are visible, shimmering with jewels and recognition. Others are invisible, glowing quietly within the spirit of those who endured with grace. Today, heaven placed such a crown upon your head, not one of gold or silver, but one woven from endurance, humility, and faith proven through fire. You may not feel it resting there, but heaven does. And in the unseen realm, it shines brighter than any earthly reward. There are seasons when you do not realize you are earning a crown. You simply keep going, keep believing, keep forgiving, even when everything in you wants to quit. That is what you have done. The battles you fought in silence became royal appointments. Every yes you gave God when no one else believed became a thread in this heavenly crown. The scriptures declare in the second letter of Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, "Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing." That promise is for you. You have longed for his presence, even when you couldn't sense it. You have sought his will, even when it led you through fire. And now, heaven honors you not as a hero to be praised, but as a servant who stayed faithful. The crown you wear is not ornamental, it is prophetic. It marks you as one who will carry greater authority in seasons ahead. You may not have realized it, but each trial was a ceremony, each hardship a step toward coronation. When you chose compassion instead of revenge, a gem was added. When you worshipped in pain, another was set in place. Heaven builds its crowns through moments that seem ordinary to men but are sacred to God. And unlike earthly crowns that fade or rust, this one grows brighter with every act of obedience. It is not stored in vaults or displayed in temples, it lives within you. Each time you choose love over anger, the light of that crown intensifies. Every act of integrity polishes it. Every prayer said in secret strengthens it. You are being adorned with eternity's acknowledgement. The beauty of this divine crown is that it is not for display, but for responsibility. It doesn't lift you above others, it prepares you to lift others. Those who wear heaven's crowns are called to carry heaven's compassion. You are being positioned to comfort the weary, guide the searching, and restore the broken. The authority placed upon you is not to rule, but to serve with deeper wisdom and gentleness. That is why your path has been steep. Crowns are not shaped in comfort, they are forged under pressure. God allowed the weight so that when the honor came, pride could find no place in you. The pressure humbled you, purified you, and prepared you. What others see as endurance, heaven calls readiness. There is something holy about this hidden coronation. You may never receive applause for it, but the spiritual world knows your name. Angels recognize you not by your achievements, but by your glow. They know who carries light born of perseverance. You walk with quiet authority now. the kind that doesn't need to prove itself because it's already proven. When you speak peace, it multiplies. When you bless others, it ripples. You carry a grace that disarms chaos, not by shouting but by existing. This is what it means to wear heaven's crown. It is to embody calm in the storm and hope in despair. One day, when all is revealed, you will see how many lives were touched because you refused to give up. You will see how your steadfast heart became a landmark in someone else's wilderness. The light of your endurance guided others toward home, even when you didn't know it. That's how heaven's crowns function. They radiate influence without effort. So as you move forward, carry this invisible crown with humility. Let it remind you that every hardship held purpose, every silence carried significance. You are not merely surviving faith, you are wearing it. The kingdom of darkness recognizes the glow you carry now, and it steps back, for it cannot imitate authenticity. You are crowned not because you finished perfectly, but because you finished faithfully. The journey that nearly broke you became the proof that you were unbreakable. Heaven smiles upon you, whispering, "This one stayed." And that simple truth, staying, trusting, enduring, is the highest royalty in the kingdom of God. Carry this crown quietly. You don't need to announce it. The atmosphere around you already feels its weight. Every space you enter shifts, not because of who you are, but because of the grace you carry. Heaven's mark rests upon you. Walk forward with reverence, not pride. The same God who placed this crown upon your spirit will guide your steps into new purpose. Wear it not as decoration, but as devotion, a reminder that victory was never about glory, but about love proven true. There are seasons when heaven confirms your faith not through words, but through signs, gentle patterns that appear when your spirit is awake enough to notice. A sudden peace after prayer, a repeated number on the clock, a moment of stillness that feels holy. These are not coincidences, they are divine fingerprints, placed carefully in your path so that you remember you are seen. You have walked through the refining, through the silence, through the fire. And now heaven begins to reveal the signs of completion. They are subtle, like whispers on the wind, but your spirit knows how to hear them now. You've become sensitive to heaven's rhythm. Every encounter, every detail seems to hum with divine timing. The scriptures affirm this truth in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. This is your season of recognition. The appointed time has arrived quietly, without noise, without spectacle, yet it is here. You are walking within a divine schedule that cannot be delayed. What you once called waiting was actually preparation. What you once called delay was alignment. Heaven has always been on time, it was simply waiting for your readiness. You will begin to notice divine confirmations appearing like gentle rain. Doors opening without effort. Encounters that feel ordained. Words that arrive at the exact moment you need them. These are heaven's ways of saying, now is the time. You will no longer question if God still speaks, you will know He does. Because everything around you will begin to respond. Your spirit has matured to the point where faith no longer demands proof. Yet heaven, in its kindness, gives confirmation anyway, not because you need it, but because love delights in reassurance. You will start seeing patterns of grace numbers that repeat, symbols that align, people who appear at perfect timing. Do not rush to explain them. Simply receive them. They are heaven's language of comfort. And when these signs appear, let gratitude rise. They are not rewards for perfection, but reminders of relationship. They whisper, "I never left you." Every pattern, every moment of alignment, every divine coincidence carries that same message. Heaven still walks beside you, guiding your steps, marking your path with love. There is something deeply intimate about divine confirmation. It reminds you that God is not a distant ruler, but a close father, one who speaks in the language your heart understands. He doesn't just shout from the heavens. Sometimes, he hides meaning in numbers, in songs, in simple moments that turn ordinary days into holy ground. You are entering a time when these confirmations will increase. Not to overwhelm you, but to reassure you. Heaven knows how weary your journey has been. The signs will not shout, they will sing softly, reminding you that the story is unfolding exactly as written. And as you begin to see these patterns, heaven invites you to acknowledge them, not with superstition, but with worship. When you see alignment, say within yourself, "He remembers me." That simple thought becomes a bridge between earth and heaven. Now, as a prophetic act of recognition, a sacred signal that your eyes are open and your heart attentive, comment the number 333 below. This number represents divine revelation. Heaven's light meeting human understanding. When you type it, you're saying, "I see what you're showing me. Lord, I'm listening." Let it be your gentle response to heaven's whisper. You are not commanding anything to happen, you are simply agreeing with what already is. The signs were never random, they were love letters in disguise, and now you read them clearly. As you write 333, imagine heaven's reply wrapping around you like warm light. It's God's way of saying, "Yes, you've understood. Yes, you are aligned. Yes, this is your appointed time." The same light that once guided you through shadow now shines ahead of you, marking a clear path. Every step forward from this moment carries divine rhythm. You are no longer wandering, you are walking in revelation. Type 333 in the comments as your agreement with heaven's timing. It is not a superstition, it is a symbol. When you write it, you're declaring that your eyes are open, your heart is ready, and your spirit recognizes the divine alignment unfolding around you. Each digit of 333 represents divine conversation and heaven speaking, earth listening, and your soul responding. It is a rhythm of awareness, a soft echo between you and God saying, "We are in sync." Your comment becomes your signature on the page of this moment, marking it as holy ground. So, type 333 not as routine, but as revelation. Let it be your quiet yes, your acknowledgement that God's hand still guides your story. When you do, heaven responds with assurance, whispering back to your heart, "You've understood the message," and the light now walks with you. There are chains that are older than memory patterns, fears, and silent burdens carried through generations, passing quietly from one heart to another. They are not visible like metal or sound, but they shape lives all the same. You, without even realizing it, have stood at the center of that ancient line, and today, heaven has declared the chain ends here. Breaking is never loud. It happens first in the unseen, when the soul refuses to repeat what once defined it. It begins when you choose forgiveness where others held grudges, when you walk away from cycles that stole peace from those before you. That decision, the one you made to trust again, to love again, to heal instead of hide, wasn't just for you. It was for every life connected to yours. The sacred writings speak of this moment in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 1. "He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners." That scripture has become your living testimony. You were once bound by the shadows of old pain, some your own, some inherited, but now, the light that found you has broken through them all. The freedom you feel stirring inside you is not imaginary. It is generational redemption taking its first breath. Every tear you shed in secret watered this deliverance. Heaven used your pain as a weapon against the very darkness that tried to keep your family captive. You may never fully know what you broke off through your endurance. But in the spirit, chains fell with every prayer, every act of surrender, every time you refused to let bitterness win. You have become the answer to prayers your ancestors didn't have words to speak. Their unfinished hopes found completion in you. Where they carried silence, you spoke truth. Where they carried fear, you chose faith. Where they carried shame, you embraced grace. This is what it means to be chosen, not only to be healed, but to become healing for others. The breaking of chains rarely looks dramatic. Sometimes it's found in small moments, the first time you laughed again after loss, the first night you slept without anxiety, the first morning you didn't feel haunted by regret. These are the quiet victories that heaven celebrates with joy. There is freedom running through your veins now. It's in the way you think, the way you love, the way you respond. Old triggers no longer control you. Old lies no longer define you. You have learned to pause before reacting, to breathe before breaking, to pray before speaking. That calmness is not weakness. It's spiritual authority born from liberation. Do you realize what that means? You are walking proof that freedom is possible. The very things that tried to destroy you have now become testimonies that build others. You carry keys forged in fire, keys that can open cages for those still trapped in fear or self-doubt. When you speak peace, it's not theory, it's lived truth. Heaven is not just celebrating your deliverance, it's commissioning you. You are now a vessel of release, an instrument of restoration. Your words will break heaviness off others because they come from a place of victory. You have been entrusted with the ministry of healing, not because of education or eloquence, but because of experience sanctified by grace. Look around and see how the atmosphere responds to you now. Where there was tension, there is softness. Where there was resistance, there is openness. You carry the fragrance of freedom, and the world can sense it even before you speak. This is how heaven multiplies deliverance through one liberated soul who refuses to go back. You may still remember the pain, but you no longer live under it. That's the miracle memory without bondage. You can look back without bitterness, reflect without regret, and love without fear. The past no longer holds chains, it holds lessons. And every lesson points back to the one who turned ashes into beauty. So walk gently but boldly. You are no longer defined by what you escaped, but by what you've become. The sound of your footsteps now carries authority. When you move, the atmosphere adjusts. When you breathe, peace follows. You are freedom in human form, a living declaration that the curse has been reversed. The chains that once clanged in your lineage are silent now. What once oppressed has been transformed into testimony. You stand as evidence that nothing can remain unbroken when love intervenes. And as heaven watches, it whispers a final truth over you. This one didn't just survive, they set others free. Freedom now walks beside you like a lifelong friend, steady and quiet. It doesn't need to be announced. It simply lives through your choices, your gentleness, your courage to keep loving. That's the proof that the chains are gone. Every breath you take now carries inheritance, peace, clarity, renewal. You are no longer rebuilding ruins, you are building legacies of light. Heaven keeps records not of your failures, but of your faith. Every act of trust, every moment you chose love over fear, every tear that turned into prayer, none of it disappeared into the air. It has all been written, not on paper or stone, but within the archives of eternity. The report about you has reached the courts of heaven, and it reads with honor, "This one remained faithful." There are many reports in heaven. Some tell of victories won by armies, others of miracles performed through prophets. But the one written about you is different. It is quiet, radiant, and full of endurance. It tells of a soul who refused to let go even when silence stretched long. It tells of hands that trembled but never released faith. It tells of love that persisted when reason could not explain why. The scripture speaks of such divine remembrance in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 16. Then those who feared the Lord talked with each other, and the Lord listened and heard. A scroll of remembrance was written in his presence concerning those who feared the Lord and honored his name. That scroll includes your name. It contains the moments that no one else applauded, the nights you prayed until words ran out, the times you gave when you had little, the days you carried burdens in silence. Heaven saw it all and recorded it with care. Nothing about your faithfulness has been forgotten. In the unseen courts of heaven, your perseverance speaks louder than words. It testifies not only to your strength, but to God's sustaining grace. The angels who once stood watch during your hardest nights now stand as witnesses of your transformation. They remember when you felt you couldn't endure, and they celebrate the strength that has now emerged. You may have wondered if it mattered if your quiet obedience had any impact at all. Heaven's record answers that question clearly. Yes, it mattered. Your endurance shifted things beyond your sight. The choices you made in stillness altered atmospheres, redirected generational stories, and planted seeds for futures you will never see. This is how the kingdom works. What feels small on earth echoes endlessly in eternity. Even now, heaven continues to write. Every moment of gratitude adds another line. Every whisper of worship adds another verse. Your story is becoming a chapter in the living book of faith, written not by human hands, but by divine love. One day, when all is revealed, you will read that record and realize that not a single struggle was wasted. Heaven's report does not highlight your mistakes. It highlights your recovery. It doesn't glorify your wounds. It honors your healing. It doesn't replay your fears. It celebrates your courage. You are seen as one who got back up every time the world tried to pull you down. The record reads, "This one trusted through tears and still believed in promise." Sometimes, heaven's recognition feels subtle, a wave of peace after a long prayer, an unexpected reminder that you are not alone. These are small acknowledgments from the writer himself, letting you know that your file in eternity is still open, still active, still being written in gold. Understand this: you are part of heaven's living history. The same God who recorded Abraham's faith, David's songs, and Esther's courage has also recorded your perseverance. The same ink that preserved their legacy now writes your name. The same voice that declared, "Well done, good and faithful servant," whispers it over your life even now. There will come a time when heaven's report about you will inspire others. They will read your story not as fiction, but as proof that endurance still lives in human hearts. Your scars will preach louder than your victories. Your consistency will become the sermon that draws others to hope again. And as that record grows, heaven continues to honor your obedience in ways you may never see. Every prayer you release becomes an entry in the archive. Every person you forgive adds a new testimony line. Every moment you choose faith over fear adds another page of brilliance. One day, when time folds into eternity, that report will be opened before witnesses both earthly and divine, and heaven will read it aloud, not to expose your pain, but to exalt your perseverance. The verdict will be final. This one remained true. So rest in this truth tonight, you have not gone unnoticed. The scrolls of heaven carry your name, written in light that cannot fade. Every step you've taken, every battle you've fought, every time you've whispered, "I trust you," it's all there, etched forever. Heaven's record about you is not finished yet, but its theme is already clear. It is the story of unwavering faith, of quiet courage, of love that could not be extinguished. And as eternity turns its pages, your testimony continues to shine. A living reminder that faith remembered is never faith forgotten. There are mantles that heaven gives quietly, garments of strength woven from threads of endurance, grace, and humility. You wear one now. Though you may not see it, it rests upon your shoulders like invisible light, soft but weighty, carrying the fragrance of every prayer you've ever prayed in faith. This mantle was not given lightly. It was earned through nights of trust, mornings of surrender, and seasons of perseverance. You have been entrusted with something sacred, the authority of the unshaken. It is not authority to rule, but to restore, not to command, but to comfort. Wherever you go, peace follows, because heaven recognizes its own in you. The same God who refined you through fire now sends you forth as proof that faith can withstand anything. The Word of God reminds us through the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. That garment of praise has become your mantle. It covers you now. You no longer carry the scent of sorrow, but the fragrance of renewal. You no longer speak from wounds, but from wisdom. You are heaven's evidence that ashes can become beauty, that mourning can become melody, that despair can become devotion. And because this mantle is living light, it cannot stay hidden. Light was never meant to be trapped, it moves. It multiplies, it spreads warmth wherever it travels. What you carry is not meant to remain with you alone. It's meant to touch others still searching for hope. Your story becomes a torch passed from soul to soul, each one catching fire from the one before it. Every time you share light, heaven smiles. When you choose to like a message like this, it's not a reaction, it's recognition, it's your way of saying yes. This light reached me and I want it to keep burning. A simple act, yet it sends ripples of warmth into unseen places. When you share it, you become part of a sacred chain of messengers. Your hand extends the flame, letting it find someone who sits right now in the darkness you once knew. You might never see their face, but your light will find their heart. When you subscribe, it's not just connection, it's continuation. It means you are choosing to walk with the current of this light, to let it visit you again, shaping, lifting, and reminding you who you are. You become part of a constellation, a map of hope that heaven draws across the world. And if your heart stirs softly, if you feel peace rise as you listen, that might be heaven inviting you to plant into this light. A donation here is not about giving something away, it's about letting your gratitude take form. It's placing another log onto the fire so that it can burn through longer nights and reach colder hearts. No pressure, no demand, only invitation. Because real giving has never been about obligation. It's always been about overflow. When your soul is full, it naturally wants to share. If this message has lit even a small corner of your heart, then let that warmth move outward however it chooses, through words, through kindness, through generosity, through prayer. Every act matters. Think of it this way. The flame you sustain today may become tomorrow's sunrise for someone else. And maybe one day, long after this message fades from memory, your light will still be traveling, touching hearts that will never know your name but will feel your love. And if this message has brushed your spirit, let your comment be like a footprint of light, simple, sincere, a trace that says, I was here, and I received this. It doesn't need many words. Even a single heart, a word of gratitude, or a phrase of peace becomes part of the echo heaven keeps. When you write below, imagine it not as typing, but as planting your words become seeds that may bloom in someone else's heart tomorrow. That's how the circle of light widens, one word, one heart, one act of faith at a time. The mantle you wear was never about recognition. It was about reflection. You are a mirror of heaven's heart, and mirrors don't keep light, they return it. So however you choose to respond, do it with freedom. If you share, let it be like breathing natural and joyful. If you give, let it be like releasing a dove into the sky, trusting that it will reach the right place. And if all you can do is whisper, I receive this, then know that heaven counts that too. The light will never demand, it will always invite. So let it rest here a moment longer, this warmth, this peace, this sense that you are part of something larger than yourself. Whether through your like, your share, your comment, your prayer, or your seed, you keep the river of light flowing. You keep faith moving forward. And heaven will remember every gesture, not as a transaction, but as worship. Because giving light is never about losing, it's about becoming. There are moments when heaven does more than blessed commissions. This is one of those moments for you. You have been prepared not only to receive light, but to carry it into places that have forgotten how to shine. The tests, the silence, the waiting, all of it was training for this purpose. What once wounded you has now become the oil that fuels your calling. You are no longer standing where you began. The version of you that entered the fire is gone, replaced by one who understands both suffering and strength. This new version of you walks with quiet confidence, aware that every step is guided by unseen hands. You don't rush now. You don't panic. You've learned the rhythm of heaven, the steady beat of trust. The scriptures speak through the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 15. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky as you hold firmly to the word of life. You have become that living verse, glowing not by effort but by alignment. The light within you no longer flickers, it sustains. It does not exist to be admired, it exists to reveal. You have become a quiet constellation in the dark, a signal to others that faith still burns bright even when the night stretches long. There's a stillness about you now that speaks louder than ambition. You've stopped striving to prove yourself because you've realized you were chosen long before anyone doubted you. That realization changes everything. You no longer walk to be seen, you walk because you've been sent. And as you go, heaven moves with you. Every place you enter shifts slightly, even if others can't explain why. Hope begins to stir. Faith begins to return. People who had forgotten how to breathe deeply suddenly feel peace again when they stand beside you. That's what divine commissioning looks like. It's not about grand gestures, it's about quiet transformation. You are being sent not to perform miracles, but to embody them. Your forgiveness is a miracle. Your patience is a miracle. Your endurance in love is a miracle. And each one speaks to a world that has grown deaf to sermons but still understands sincerity. This is why your voice matters, not because it's loud, but because it's honest. You have walked through pain without losing tenderness. You've endured disappointment without losing empathy. You've seen darkness without becoming it. The world needs that kind of witness, the kind that reminds others that holiness can wear human skin and still shine. You are now a carrier of restoration. When you pray, your words travel like wind, touching people who will never know your name. When you walk, your footsteps echo as intercession. When you love, your affection becomes armor for those who cannot yet protect themselves. Heaven works through you now, not occasionally, but continually. This is your commissioning light. It burns steady, not in flashes, but in constancy. Others will be drawn to it, and sometimes that will feel heavy. Remember, you are not responsible for their salvation, only for your surrender. Keep your flame pure, not by perfection, but by staying connected to its source. You don't need to understand every step. You only need to stay available. The same spirit that refined you will guide you into the next assignments. Some will be visible. Others will happen in silence. Some will require words, others will require only presence. But in each one, you will know it's not you speaking or moving. It's heaven through you. You are the answer to prayers you didn't hear. You are the comfort someone begged for. You are the sign someone asked to see. This is what divine purpose feels like, not grand or glamorous, but weighty and gentle at once. You will recognize it in the way peace follows every yes you give. Look how far you've come. The storms that once shook you now simply remind you of how anchored you are. The fears that once spoke loudly now fall silent in the presence of your faith. The darkness that once intimidated you now retreats at your arrival. That is what it means to walk as light in a shadowed world. Heaven trusts you with this role because you have proven love under pressure. You didn't curse the refining. You learned from it. You didn't hoard the blessing. You shared it. That's what makes you worthy of this commissioning. The authority you carry isn't about control, it's about compassion. So step forward, not with haste, but with harmony. Let your life remain a melody of grace played softly through the noise of this world. Where others see chaos, you will see opportunity. Where others see endings, you will see beginnings. Every breath, every word, every gentle act will become evidence that heaven still touches earth through willing hearts. You are not at the end of your story. You are at the beginning of your mission. The refining was the preparation. This peace is the power. Walk as one who knows they carry light, and remember, light never asks permission to shine. It simply does. When heaven finishes refining a soul, there is a silence that follows, not the silence of absence, but of awe. It's the pause between what was and what's about to be, the sacred breath before a new chapter begins. You are standing in that silence now. Everything that once felt chaotic has settled. Everything that once burned now glows. You have crossed the threshold between trial and transformation. This peace surrounding you is not ordinary, it is earned peace, sculpted through surrender and shaped by faithfulness. It's the kind of calm that comes only after walking through storms that should have destroyed you but didn't. You stand now in the stillness that heaven calls completion, the quiet strength of one who has been both broken and rebuilt by divine hands. The scriptures echo this sacred moment in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 11. You turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. That joy is what covers you now. It's not loud or fleeting, it's steady and deep. It does not deny the pain that came before it. It redeems it. Every scar, every sleepless night, every unanswered question has been gathered and woven into a garment of gladness. The ashes of your old season are now the soil from which your new life blooms. You have become something different, something rare. You carry serenity, but not because life is easy, because grace has taken root. You have learned that real peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of understanding. You no longer ask why me, because you now know that purpose requires refining. You no longer resent the fire, you bless it for what it created in you. This is what heaven sees when it looks at you now: completion without pride, wisdom without bitterness, power without arrogance. You are the quiet evidence of God's craftsmanship, a masterpiece that doesn't need to announce itself because its glow speaks for it. There was a time when you wondered if you would ever feel whole again. But wholeness came not by restoring what was lost, but by revealing what could only emerge through loss. God didn't return you to who you were. He revealed who you were always meant to become. You are no longer defined by the season that broke you, but by the grace that rebuilt you. You will find that your laughter sounds different now, lighter, freer, more sincere. Even your tears carry gratitude instead of grief. You no longer fear what tomorrow brings because you've met God in your deepest yesterday. That meeting changed everything. You've seen too much faithfulness to ever doubt again. The peace you feel is not just for you, it flows through you. You are now a vessel of restoration, a living reminder that broken things can shine again. Your story will continue to heal others, not through preaching or performance, but through presence. The way you live, forgive, and walk will speak louder than anything you could ever say. This new season will not require the same kind of endurance as before. It will require stewardship. Heaven trusts you now with influence, but not the kind that shouts, it's the kind that stabilizes. You have become a spiritual anchor for others, and you will notice how easily your calm disarms their chaos. That's the evidence of divine authority, not built on dominance, but on peace. There will still be challenges, but they will no longer shake you. What once frightened you will now bow to your discernment. What once drained you will now refine your direction. You will make decisions with clarity because you've learned how to listen for heaven's whisper instead of the world's noise. And as you walk forward, the same angels that guarded you in sorrow now surround you in celebration. They don't just protect, they proclaim. In the spiritual realm, your name has become synonymous with endurance, and your presence is marked with victory. The journey that began in fire ends in light. You have completed the circle, not back where you started, but higher, wiser, and freer. Heaven writes finished over the pain, but beginning over the promise. The cycle of breaking is over. The season of building has begun. So take this moment, this silence, this stillness, and let it sink deep into your spirit. You don't need to strive anymore, and you don't need to prove anything. What God has written over you is already sealed. The grace that brought you here will guide you forward. The world will continue spinning fast, but you will move differently, slower, surer, more intentional. You have become one of heaven's steady ones, grounded in peace yet filled with purpose. And wherever you go, that atmosphere will follow. For you have walked through the valley, stood in the furnace, wept in the silence. And yet here you stand whole, radiant, crowned with quiet glory. This is not the end of your journey. It's the unveiling of who you truly are, chosen, refined, and ready to shine. And now, the message has come full circle. Every word spoken has led to this quiet place where heaven pauses and your heart understands what it means to be chosen. You have walked through the refining, stood beneath the weight of silence, and risen into light. Now you carry it not as a burden, but as a gift to the world. If this message has touched your spirit, let your light be a candle left behind in this sanctuary, a small flame that tells heaven, I was here, and I received this book. When you share it, to think of it as sending that candle into another room still wrapped in night. Somewhere, someone is waiting for light like yours. When you subscribe, you're not just connecting to a page, you're stepping into a stream of light that flows from heart to heart. It's a way of saying, keep the message moving, keep the fire alive, and if generosity stirs quietly in you, let it move like a river, not pressured, not pushed. A donation is simply another way of adding oil to the flame, ensuring that the next soul lost in darkness can find warmth again. Every act, no matter how small, becomes part of this sacred current. Finally, leave a comment below, not for attention, but as a trace of gratitude. Your words are seeds, planted in unseen soil. Someone will read them one day and find courage in your echo. You never know whose heart your light will reach. This is how heaven's message continues through the hands and hearts of those who choose to keep the light flowing. Like, share, speak, give, or simply stay. Every gesture becomes part of the story heaven is still writing through you.